Well, hello, and it's so good to be with you. It's the beautiful time of year of May. It's also a time of celebrations, and we're going to take a small detour from 2 Samuel, and we're going to focus on something that is celebrated. We take time each year to celebrate it, but we need to think about the deeper meanings of it, and we need to cherish it. And we're going to talk about not just Mother's Day, but the importance of mothers. And I think it is very worthy of reflection, not just as a card, which is nice, or a gift, which is nice, but to think about its deeper meanings. You know, it is a universal thing. So let's think about that for a second. I know, as you're listening to this, everyone has a mother. Every person that has ever lived throughout time, it's a universal thing. Now, we have different types of relationships. The roles can vary a little bit depending on the exact society. But it is, and it should be celebrated around the world. In fact, I got curious about it. And of course, in the United States, since I've been born, we've always had a Mother's Day, but Canada, UK, Ireland, France, Mexico, Spain. In total, it's pretty much universally recognized at different times and in different ways. But I think almost any society of any type should recognize that there is an importance to being a mother. And it is something that is worth a day of reflection and a day of thought. And what we want to do, though, of course, is look at what the Bible has to say. It's in our hearts, I think. I think it's something that God has given us. But it truly is special. It should not be neglected. It should not be overlooked. I think there are different angles to it. There's different parts to it. As we open the Bible from the very beginning, and let's think about creation itself. There's, of course, the earth, and the waters, and the sun, and the stars, and there's vegetation. And then, eventually, God creates us, His special creation in His image. But in that, He created Eve. And it says, and she became the mother of all living. And that God has allowed creation to take place through a very special vehicle, the vehicle of a woman. And it has continued from the beginning of time. And as long as we live on this earth, it is an absolutely universal quality that we all have in common. Now, let's remember something else about it. It goes on and says in Genesis 4, Adam knew Eve his wife. She conceived and she bore Cain, saying, I have gotten a man with the help of the Lord. So, creation, even with all of our technology today, the idea of conception and birth, and the developing 9 months of a miracle of a little baby. And we think about our bodies. If you just think about how your eyes work, and your hands work, and your taste buds, your smell, your sense, everything. That God, it's God's creation, but He allows it to take place through a woman. And we just need to ponder the miracle of that beautiful creation. In fact, Psalm says, Psalm 139:13, for you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. And as we see the development of a child, it is a jaw-dropping miracle, as it has always been. But there's another commonality of life. It says, and naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. But it's the Lord who gives us this life that we have. If you are somebody with children, God's the one that has given you those children. For each and every one of us that's been born, We are part of God's special creation, and we should bless his name because he's given us life. As a child, at whatever age, even in my age, let's dare not take it for granted. But as a mother presently, a mother to be, it is God's divine creation, and that's another reason to celebrate it. Now, you can become a mother through the act of creation, but then you have a responsibility. Now, I want to stick to the Bible today, but I was actually doing some research on this, and I was looking at childhood development, and I was looking at how children grow in life and how they're impacted. And there is no way to overstate the importance of mothers from the very beginning in the development of their child. It's a stewardship, it's a responsibility, a blessing, but also a responsibility. Psalm 127 says children are a heritage from the Lord, again acknowledging that it's God's gift, and it is truly a reward. It is truly something to be celebrated, but that responsibility comes with it. And from the beginning, we have instructions that we should follow. Just as a mother can be responsible for the diet and the clothing and the care and all these things, those are extremely important. Showing love, incredibly important. But also in teaching. Deuteronomy 6, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words that I command you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and your gates. Now, it's a responsibility. You'd say, well, I should take them to church, and absolutely, that's part of that responsibility, but it's even bigger than that. Because that same research would show that it's going to be that day-to-day living and life that's going to have an impact on your child. It's what's going on in your house, what they're going to observe. And that's why there's a promise in Proverbs 22, train up a child in the way he should go, and even when he is old, he will not depart from it. It can be a joy, and I think any mother, any parent can tell you sometimes in the temporary, it's not always a joy, it can be hard. But we claim these promises as truth. But I want to talk about another angle to it. We think a lot about the idea of stewardship. Jesus taught about stewards. We think of stewards often in terms of money. But there's different types of stewardship. And 1 Corinthians says, moreover, it is required of stewards that they be found faithful. And in fact, we talk about these blessings and joys, but there's also a negative aspect of that responsibility. For example, Mark 9:42, Jesus says, whoever causes a little one, believe in me, to sin, it would be better for him if a great millstone were hung around his neck and he were thrown into the sea. A little one can be a blessing. A little one can be taught well, but a little one can also be brought into sin or be brought into ways that they stumble or fall away. You know, everything in our life is a stewardship. Everything we have has been given to us. We are born naked from our mother's womb. We have nothing. That does include finances, of course. It includes the gifts that we have in life to use. But certainly it includes our responsibility in the raising of children. So you think of the treasure of your bank account. A child is worth so much more. And ultimately, just like God gives you that temporary handling of your money, you have a temporary time to lead your children, because we're all going to, as we were born naked, we're going to return that way. We're going to lose the treasures of this earth. And our time will be gone. And God is the one to which every child ultimately belongs. Now, there's also a responsibility for society and for us individually to honor motherhood, to honor our mothers and support them. So for the United States, for other countries that have a day of honor set aside, absolutely. But again, let's think about it. Is a card nice? Are flowers nice? Absolutely. It is good. One way we show honor is we show gifts. But there are other things we can do. Going to the beginning, I think many people don't realize in society, as we think about the 10 commandments that God originally gave in Exodus 20, that is one of our 10 commandments. We think about murder, we think about theft, we think about lying, but from the beginning, honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land. God has set that up with divine creation. It was reiterated in Deuteronomy, but it was also stated, and this is not all the times, by Jesus. He says in Matthew 15:4, for God commanded, honor your father and your mother. Matthew 15:4, for God commanded, honor your father and mother. It's an important command. It's in the New Testament, in the epistles as well, taught by Paul. Ephesians 6:1-3. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother. I could give you so many verses. This is stated over and over again at every part of the Bible. And we as a society need to continue it. We continue it on a special day, but we should continue it every day. So let's think about how we can bring this to conclusion today. How can we put this into practice? As we close, I want to think about 3 groups of mothers. First, there are probably many who are listening whose mothers are no longer with us. Their time on this earth is gone, but we remember them with Thanksgiving. I'm thankful I still have my mother, but I have lost and seen the loss of many mothers in life. And we are thankful for the lives that they have lived. We remember them, we honor them today. Just as we may honor soldiers that have gone before us, we remember those up in the past. We don't forget them. We still remember their words. We have stories about them. We remember ways they impact our life. And on this Mother's Day, it may be sad for you, but I hope you can remember it with joy as you remember your mother. But we also want to support and we want to pray a blessing for all the mothers with us. It is not an easy thing. And we often think of the mothers with the young children, and absolutely, it can be overwhelming, particularly when there's more than one, and when they're in diapers and they're toddlers. But mothers impact all parts of our life and all stages of our life. A mother is still a mother and still has influence as children grow from toddlers to elementary to junior high to high school and even into adults and being mothers themselves. And there's always a blessing, there's always a responsibility for all the stages of life. And let's remember yes, of course, the young mothers, but let's remember all of our mothers at all stages of life. Also want to pray for all the mothers to be. Some may be in the process. They've already conceived. They're waiting for the day of that birth. Others, they may not even know when that day will be. But in due season, in due time, the day will come, and that when they're there, they'll be prepared for the blessing and the responsibility that awaits them. It has existed from the beginning. it will continue to exist. It is something to cherish, but also to be sober for the responsibilities that we have for those that are mothers, and the responsibility that we have to support our mothers and to honor our mothers. I hope this gives you some great things to reflect upon this Mother's Day.